Rise and Shine Rwanda is Thursday the 22nd of January.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda.
A shopper's delight. We show you where to go to find virtually any style.
Fidelis has a date with a doggy daycare, the first in Rwanda.
And Alan shares his film picks for the week in today's movie review.
Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Makeda Mahario.
And me, Regis Ishesha, and over the next hour we'll bring you all the latest news, sports, and lifestyle headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are here in the studio. What's going on in the world of the money?
Well, like you said, you know, I was mingling with the dogs. You know,
so you were
quite nice.
mingling with your dogs.
I got to know them, and you know, we actually I met lots of dog friends that day. It was amazing.
All right, Arnold, African Cup of Nations, what do you have for us?
Ladies, from today's fix, we analyzed deeply today's fixtures, and then Real Sports Blues continue. They may be.
It's looking bad, right?
It's terrible for Real Sports fans.
All right, Alan, I see some House of Tayo flavor going on over there.
Well, thank you for saving the best for last. Well, today in Lifestyle, we're talking about movies. It's movie reviews, so I've got all the latest movies to check out in the movie theaters.
All right, sir.
Looking forward to it all, but first, Rise and Shine story of the day.
Some head to Nairobi, Kampala, and even Dubai to get their fresh on. Designer clothes, brand name shoes, you name them. But little do we know that here in our very own city, the same brands can be found for much, much less. And some young businessmen are literally changing our shopping habits. I went to Biryogo in the very popular Nyamirambo to find out about this phenomenon.
Biryogo. This is where you find your favorite designers' clothes at ridiculously low prices. I call it Kigali's shopping strip. Second-hand clothing straight from China, Europe, and America at more than what you can call affordable prices.
Ducuruza ibintu bya caguwa ariko tugerageza kunyuranya kugira ngo dushakishe ibintu bitandukanye kuko abantu benshi burya guza abantu ziratandukanye bimwe tubikura i Bugande ibindi Nairobi ariko nahangaha mu Rwanda naho ibintu biraboneka.
Here, no matter the item, the initial price is almost always 35,000 Rwandan francs, then you bargain your way to a price you will not believe.
Hano ikiza nuko yumaze gushima ikintu ikibazo gisigaye no kunegosiya kandi ni umuntu utifuza mbese amafaranga yose ufite mushobora kumvikana kandi ikiza cye yo musanzwe munaziranye ufite make urayamuha ukamuzanira ndi nk'umuntu w'inyangamugayo.
We're here at the shopping strip here in Biryogo. A lot of shops here aligned selling all designers' clothes you can imagine. Lacoste, Polo Ralph Lauren, Nike, Reebok, Adidas. Anything you want, you'll get it here. Haj owns this place here that you see.
Iduka rimaze imyaka igera muri 12. Ariko ntabwo twatangiriye hano urumva umuntu utangira akazi agira ahantu atangirira handi kuko competition yahangaha iragoye kuba waza ufite ubushobozi buke. Twatangiriye mu ntara tugenda tuzamuka gahoro gahoro none tugeze i Kigali.
It's all sort of apparel too, from designer shirts to women's handbags and Air Jordans. Yes, Air Jordans. I myself bought Jordan 12s here, the ones Michael Jordan wore as he won his 5th NBA championship. I bought them at a price I will probably never reveal, but believe me, it was unbelievable.
Hari ibintu byiza ari inkweto ari ngozi ari ama space ari sandal n'izindi nkweto zose urazibona kandi ziri karite nziza cyane.
Are these shop owners really making a profit out of this? And can they really make a living out of it?
Ubwo turunguka ntabwo navuga ko tunguka ko turishyura amazu, turishyura imisoro kandi ubona ko n'akazi kagenda kaguka gahoro gahoro. Ubona akazi uramutse ukitayeho gashobora kugira aho kakugeza. Ikibazo abantu bagira mu bucuruzi, umuntu aza mu bucuruzi umwaka umwe akumva ko agomba guhita akira, ariko akazi ugomba kugaha umwanya, ukagaha igihe, ukagashyiramo ingufu zawe zose, ntiwumve kuba umaze umwaka umwe mu bucuruzi ugiye kwita ubona ibya mirenge. Oya, genda gahoro, wenda intego yawe uzayigereho ku myaka 40 muri ako kazi. Birashoboka ko dufite ingero nyinshi. Hari abantu batangiye bacuruza ipantaro imwe ku rutugu, ariko ubu ngubu ahubwo bakaba bageze mu nganda barimo gukora imyenda. Izo ngero turazifite. So ibintu bitwara gahoro gahoro kandi n'Imana nayo iradufasha.
One thing is for sure, I will always make this my preferred destination when looking for the latest gear to rock. You should too. Regis Sheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
That was a fun report.
I like it. I was in my element there.
I know you love to shop. You're always talking about your Jordans and your this and your that. So tell me, how did you even get the idea to say, you know what, I'm going to show my favorite place to shop?
Well, what happens is at the end of each month, as you know, during the month you don't have that much money to actually be able to go there. But at the end of the month, I always try to go there and buy a couple of items just for, to get my fresh on, like I was saying.
Oh my gosh.
And they have things that you wouldn't believe they have. First of all, at first I thought it couldn't be that cheap and be of quality. But at the end of the day, it is of quality, it is cheap. Most of the time, some of the shop owners do not know the quality of what they possess.
So is it all secondhand or is it some secondhand?
Some secondhand, he says it in the video. Some are secondhand, and the other are product they buy either here or in Nairobi that are actually made there. So it's first time worn, basically.
Right.
But everything else is secondhand, but it's secondhand quality. Like I was saying in the report, I bought Jordan 12s there that probably got worn once or twice, and whoever won them didn't feel like wearing them again.
Right. So does everyone else here shop at Bidyogo, formerly Nyabugogo?
Yeah, I've gone there a couple of times too. I mean, they have really good stuff, like you said, and if it's cheaper than buying it at the store, and why not? Why not? So I've gone there a couple of times myself too.
Arnold, you're very, very, very much into fashion. Kidding. No, tell us, do you like to shop there?
No, I wouldn't mind shopping there. It looks like, because I saw some nice Alan kind of shoes there. Yeah. So
I heard Alan.
yeah, the moccasins and that's Alan's thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it would be a fun place to shop.
So the resident fashion king, you tell us, what's your experience?
No, you know what? My issue is I don't know how to negotiate.
Mine
really
too.
am
That's
terrible at
You should take me
negotiating.
there.
I think I need to go with an expert. Who would tell me how to, because sometimes I think I got a good deal, but I didn't, so.
What actually works there is when you get there and don't speak French and English. Because when you do, then they have a tendency
that's the
of
problem.
raising the
So
price,
true.
right? So they can, when you speak Kinyarwanda, not just any Kinyarwanda, street Kinyarwanda, like the Kinyarwanda you hear in rap songs here, in football matches, that kind of Kinyarwanda, then they relate to you. They feel like
slang
you're
and
cool,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of slang, they feel like you're cool. They can relate to you, you can relate to them, and then you can bargain. And
But okay, I've heard about two different experiences, right? So there is the slang or the street Kinyarwanda that you're talking about. You go there and you kind of, bargain that way, and people say, okay, fine, you know what you're talking about, let me give you the best price. But then there is the expat bargaining. Now, I've heard about this kind, and I've seen it happen in front of me before, where, for instance, the shopkeeper will say, all right, you know what, this item is 20,000. And the expat will go like, no, 500. And he was, I'm sorry, what? And then it goes,
Yeah.
and they actually manage getting a good price because they're so relentless, they won't stop. They'll say, no,
Regis
3,000.
has all those
I think
tips.
it's more
Regis
it's
has
more a
all
matter
those
of
tips.
just when
of
it takes you to
bargaining.
the extreme, take him to the extreme too.
Right.
And then you finally find the meeting point that works for both of you. And
at times you actually leave the
So
shop and you act like you're disappointed that the guy wasn't willing to go down a bit.
look at
And
you selling all our tricks.
Then he meets you in another shop. No, but you have to actually do it because at times they know how to make it work. So they'll follow you wherever you go.
And they also know how low they're going to go from before they even
Absolutely.
start
Exactly.
Because they know
negotiating.
the value of, they know how much they bought it to begin with. So they're not
They
going
know
to
how
cheat
much,
themselves.
how much they want to mark it up. I mean, like I said, I've been one time, and I went with some friends, and we kind of shopped together, you know. And I was like, okay, let me just try to bargain myself. Oh my gosh, I tried, and then I was so proud and I was so happy, and I brought it back to my friends. I was like, look what I got, and they were like, how much did you pay? I told them, and they were like, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad for you, and I felt good about it.
No,
So I
I'm
think definitely. But you know what? It was what I was willing to pay,
Right.
and quite frankly, I mean, so what? I didn't go all the way down to what the lowest that it could be. Like you said, you get the good things, you get the stuff that you like to wear, and you know the budget that you're going in with. But I mean, shout out to that store. Now I feel like I need to go shopping.
I like them. I cannot believe. I'm pretty sure on eBay, for example, you cannot find Jordan 12s right now. You know they go fast.
So
and they're very expensive too.
So do you have to have a license or some kind of paperwork to sell them?
They have a Kigali city license. I found out about that yesterday when I did the report, and they also pay taxes just like everybody else. So they're in order. You cannot say anything. They're doing what they're doing, and they bargain just like you do in any other country. Basically, you have places where you can actually go and bargain.
So he was saying that you start out with these small stalls, and then if you have patience, you can even end up having a factory.
Right.
So the people that you spoke to there, was that like the main ambition of people who are working there? Or do
Absolutely.
They have...
Some of them have been there for just a couple of months, but others have been there for, like he was saying, 10 years and more. And they're saying the laziness of some of them who expect to get rich or wealthy after a month or after a year is crazy. And he was saying you have to be patient. It's a business that demands a lot of realism. You have to be a realist and to actually believe that if you want to make it work, you gotta wait. You gotta build, I don't know, like you gotta have a lot of customers that actually go there, and then it's word to mouth. And then if I go, Arnold starts going and he tells his whole family, they all start going too. So, and then you can end up having a factory.
Right.
That's what he was talking about. So I believe that there's a lot in store for someone like Haj and other people that are selling secondhand clothing.
And I imagine you also have to keep up with what the trends are and what's in fashion and things like that.
And they do too. I mean, because at the end of the day, everyone's just trying to make a good deal, to get a good deal of clothes. And since we're in that era where everyone is saving and needs to save, it's important. I just feel like, you know what? No, you should just go and try it out. It's an experience, first of all. My first time there, I was exhausted, but it was great, and I was so glad that I did it, because then you have something to talk about, like with friends. It's actually a topic that you can actually sit and have a conversation with people for hours. And talking about the clothes you got for like 500 francs, like no way you're lying to us. It's really interesting.
All right, guys, how about we all go there together?
For sure. Let's have a Rise and Shine trip there.
Right.
Okay, well, you are watching Rise and Shine, Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. You're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's money, the business. Fidel Scarangua has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. Over 120 farmers and agro dealers attended a field tour where they learned the best practices and new fertilizer application skills for model farmers and retailers. The project, which aims at increasing fertilizer use and addressing food security, brought together farmers and agro dealers from Gakenke, Rulindo, Ngororero, Nyabihu, Rubavu, and Burera districts. Global soft drink giant Coca-Cola is set to cut back on Kenyan workers, joining a growing list of local multinational companies that have cut jobs in the recent months. Although the company declined to reveal the number of people who will be laid off, it is expected that about 1,600 to 1,800 jobs will be eliminated in the short term. It expects to save a total of $3 billion annually by 2019 from the cutbacks and improvement of manufacturing, marketing, and franchise systems. Sit, stay, and fetch are just some of the words you will hear watching today's story. A business that has been gaining momentum, training one dog at a time. Let's check it out.
Box, sit. Scooby-Doo, sit. Sit. Stay. Stay. Stop. Stay. Stay. Stay.
Here at Kimura Zone, Daniel is just one of the many who have turned his love for dogs into a daily job for the past 6 years, moving from one zone to another, training dogs on how to take orders, good behavior, and how to interact with people and other dogs. We were curious to find out how he got into this business.
Bijyanye na training naje njya muri Keke Security. Keke Security igira imbwa izi zirinda umutekano. Then Keke Security yaje kumpa amahugurwa yo kujya muri Kenya. Ngeze muri Kenya nagiye guhugurirwa ibintu bijyanye n'imbwa muri rusange. Hageze niho byamviraho kubikunda, ariko ubusanzwe mu mafamili twaragiraga imbwa. Sanga ni domaine ndimo njyamo.
Although most people own dogs in their homes in this country, it is not a common habit to have them trained, and this has been the greatest challenge, having to educate people about its importance.
Okay, mu by'ukuri tugitangira training habayeho kubyumvisha abantu, kuko hano mu Rwanda ntabyo bari bazi na bukeya, hamwe no kubona abanyamahanga badufasha mu myumvire. Abanyamahanga n'abantu bagiye badusiga, kandi kugeza ubu ngubu nibo tugenderaho mu bintu by'amahugurwa nk'uko kose. Bagiye badufasha, bakadutangira advertising ku mbuga nkoranyambaga, ariko kugeza ubu ngubu aho tugeze muri uru rwego ndabona atari umwuga ugayitse, ahubwo ni umwuga utujyana ejo hazaza.
So how important is it to actually get your dog trained?
It's really nice because we've lived here for a while, but Bojang's my other dog Polly hasn't been able to interact with other dogs very much because you don't see many around. But ever since they've started being trained, they've been able to like play with other dogs, and it's been really nice for them. And they're much better behaved now than they were before.
Mbere imbwa ntabwo yafatwaga neza muri rusange, ariko ubu ngubu hari ahantu tugezeho kuba imbwa ari inshuti idasanzwe, byongeye inshuti idahemuka. Mu by'ukuri ibi byo kujyana muri walking mu kuzitembereza zigahabwa urukundo, nabwo zirushaho kudukunda. Noneho hari nka na bimwe bigenda biboneka mu byaro tutari twagiramo, ariko nawe dufite gahunda kuzagira mu byaro tugatraining imbwa zaho. Mu by'ukuri muri Kigali hatangiye kuza ikintu cyitwa duhana inzira ku mbwa. Wabona imbwa bakumva batayikanga, bakabona ubwo ari inshuti idahemuka. Ariko mu makuru tugenda twumva mu ntara zo hanze ya Kigali harimo imbwa zigenda ziryana, ariko muri training yacu duhera kuri kugabanya ubukana ku mbwa ziryana. Ibyo cyane cyane bigaturuka mu guhabwa akato. Ugatunga imbwa uzi ko ugomba kuyishyira mu kiraro hariya, nta yindi contact muzagirana. Nayo ikeneye urukundo rwayiciriye, rwitunze. Bakagira igihe cyo gukina gutyo, bakagira igihe cyo gutembera, nayo karuhuka mu bwonko, kumva ko umuryango ibayemo yisanzura ntaho itegwa na gatoya.
Despite my little zoophobia case that I have going on, I couldn't resist myself from petting one of these beautiful dogs that have provided a source of income for these people and are clearly a growing market that can be explored. Kangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda. Joining us in studios, Mwene Rukundo rakaza neza muri Rise and Shine Rwanda. Ese tubwire, imbwa wari usanzwe uzikunda kuva kera kugira ngo ujye muri no business, byaje gute kugira ngo mbese utangize no business kuri wowe?
Okay, nkuko nabitangije n'ubundi namaze kubona amahugurwa yabyo yo gukorana n'imbwa, kuyikoresha mu kintu runaka. Maze kubona ko ngomba kuyikoresha, nsanga imbwa ni inyamaswa ifite ubumenyi buri hejuru tutari tuzi hano nk'iwacu mu Rwanda. Maze kubona amahugurwa, noneho tugize ngo tugere mu Rwanda, turakora dukorana nazo, ariko nyuma y'igihe tuza kumva ahantu hari imbwa yananiranye bashaka kujugunya kwa. noneho no kujya kuyijugunya habuze n'uyikoraho kuko yabananiye bishoboka byose. Turagenda turahagera tuhageze turabwira ati imbwa umwanzuro wose ukuyijugunya. Ahubwo imbwa igomba kuhabwa training ikiga ikamenya kubona n'abantu ari iki. Imbwa yaratraininzwe ngira ngo urukundo bayigiriye sinabukubwira uko rungana basanze ahubwo icyo yari ibura ari ukwiga gutyo business tangira gutyo tubona ko ari imbwa zifite akato kameze gutyo atari uko zaremwe ahubwo ari cyo zibura kubona education runaka zikaba nziza.
Ese wavuga ko ari business irimo amafaranga na abantu usigaye babona ko bashishikariye wenda kubona ngo bikorera ubuntu. Of course abantu barashishikarira kuzishurira kugira ngo zize kwiga izo training ziba zikeneye.
Iyi business ni business dukora ariko bakishura amafaranga. Ayo mafaranga mu by'ukuri siyo twagiye dutagetinga haba twategetinze guheza agaciro guheza imbwa agaciro mu muryango nyarwanda. Mu by'ukuri urebye imbwa uko yari ifashwe mu bihe bya kera mu Rwanda yari inyamaswa dufata nk'imbwa nyine nguko bamwe bakibitekereza, ariko ubu ngubu imbwa ni inyamaswa ushobora gushyira mu rugo ikakugirira akamaro wowe n'abawe, noneho ku buryo niyo umubwiye ngo ngiye kuyitraininga tumaze tukamuteganyiriza icyo izaba cyo tumaze kuyitraininga bityo n'ibyo ayishakaho tuyitraininga afungisho ibyo atubwiye ayikeneyeho. No ibyo bintu ayikeneyeho n'ibyaha agaciro yabiha agaciro akemera kwishyura za taxi tumusaba kugira ngo tuyigeze ahashaka kugera.
Okay, tuganira mbere wari wansobanuriye ko mufite n'ahantu mbese ari nk'ikigo aho muzishira mukazigisha, hari n'izo mujya mugurisha. Ese nibyo murazigurisha? Ese mubona abantu baza kuzigura mbese benshi abantu basigaye ari ibintu bashishikarira?
En fait mu ushaka imbwa dushobora kumuyobora aho ziboneka. Aho turi muri business dufite kugurisha imbwa ntabwo biri muri systeme yacu, twego dufite gahunda yo kuzishakira abantu kuko tuba dufite abantu benshi bazifite dukora reference bamukora reference kumugura aho yayikura, ariko aho dufite habimbwa ni imbwa ziri zimwe agaciro mu miryango yazo. None we aravuga ubu tubonye imbwa yataye agaciro iri ku muhanda yirukanga yiruga bayibuza uburenganzira bwayo, twe turazirekipera twazijyana muri farm aho zigomba kuba kujya kuruhukira zikitabwaho zigahindurwa imico, zamara kubonirwa imico arabo dukorana nka wag zigashakirwa indi miryango zijya kubamo zibayeho neza aho ngo zigume hanze zidafite agaciro, cyane cyane nk'imbwa ziri hanze z'ingore. Iyo ziri hanze usanga zibwagura cyane, noneho zambwa zibwaguriye hanze nazo ziba zigiye kuba muri bwa buzima yindi yaririmo. Icyo dukora dufite abakipe y'abaveterineri baraza bakazikuramo indi byara kugira ngo zitamenya guproduiza izizabaho nabi nyuma yaho. Niyo system dukoramo aho tuzishyira utuzikipingira icyo tuziyakorera.
Bigomba kuba bibahenda nkuko uvuze ngo mufite equipe y'abaveterineri mugomba kubishura uko biri kose. Ese hari abantu bamaze kubagana kuko ibyo mukora ni ibintu byiza cyane ntariko tukibona imbwa mu muhanda zirukanka. Ese abantu basigaye baza wenda nk'umujyi wa Kigali ukaza ukabahereza wenda amafaranga ko bafasha muri business yanyu kuko nabo baveterineri muba mugomba kubishura naho muzishira aho muzishira muzi trainingira ziba zikeneye kuba ziri ahantu heza. Ese mumaze kubona abantu bashaka kuinvestinga muri business yanyu?
Ubiyo irevant ntaho turayigeraho, ariko festival mbere uko abo bantu baza turaza tugenda tukabaganiriza tukababwira ibyiza by'ingo. N'uri veterineri uvura imbwa iyi festival ntabwo wabikora uri target y'amafaranga, habura amanze kugira n'urukundo rw'imbwa tukagusobanurira ati iyi mbwa yaribayeho gutya kugira ngo ejo hazaza hayo hazabe heza, ni ngombwa ko tuyikorera ibi n'ibi tukabiyikorera nawe akaza akadufasha kuko twamuganirije akaza n'umutima ukunze akabikora. Yamara kubikora cyo bikora umuntu uje kuyakikira tumusobanura ibyiza twayikoreye n'ibyo twayigejejeho no kugira ngo iyo projet ikomeze planinga en fait bigira dépense n'ibiki akagira contribution nibura yatanga kugira ngo iyo projet igomba planinga bitavuze ko ariko ategetse kuyitanga. Niyo atayitanga ariko ayifitiye urukundo turi muhereza akayijyana, ariko abyiyumvishije ko agomba kugira icyo atanga aragitanga tugakomeza.
Ese nihe gahunda mufite mu minsi iri imbere, imyaka iri imbere? Se business yanyu muragana hehe? N'iki mbese tugomba kubitega muri no minsi?
En fait buno dufite vision ndende cyane muri gahunda ya dog training, kuko gutraining imbwa twaje gusanga ari umwuga mwiza no dukoze kuri reference y'abanyamahanga muri Amerika ku yindi migabane. Dog training ni umwuga utunze abantu benshi cyane batagira ingano. Kubera iki? Bo babimenye mbere barabikora, babikoze bagira aho bibakura aho bibageza. natwe muri viziyo dufite gahunda yo kuzamura level turiho ubu ngubu. Niba dutrainingisha ibikoresho runaka tukabitureningisha ibikoresho biri ku rwego mpuzamahanga, niho na wa munyamahanga azaza tugana. Kuko ngubu niba dufite nk'abakiriya benshi, ngira ngo 2/3 n'abanyamahanga baraza bagira mu Rwanda, bagasanga u Rwanda ni rwiza, bakarwishimira, none babura nako imitungo yabo byose cyangwa se nk'imbwa zabo bafite nazo zihawe agaciro, zigasanga hari abanyarwanda bakunda imbwa, bazi training zikaba nziza kurushaho kandi ku giciro cyiza batabona iwabo, bahita bavuga ati u Rwanda ni rwiza kweri. Ndakeka ubu ngubu abanyamahanga dukorera nibo bagenda baturikomaninga ku babo, ku buryo ng'umuntu akura imbwa iwabo hanze akavuga ati sinzayi, niba afite gahunda yo kuzaza kuba mu Rwanda kuri rendezvous runaka, akavuga ati sinzayigishiriza iwacu, nzayijyana mu Rwanda niho bazayigisha. Bambwiye ko hari abantu bashoboye kandi batanga serivisi ku mbwa zifatika.
Rukundo, urakoze cyane kuza kuri Rise and Shine Rwanda, kandi tubifurije amahirwe mu byo gukora kabisa, ni byiza kandi turabishimiye.
Murakoze cyane.
You're up to date with today's business headlines. Sports news coming up next in just a minute with Arnold Kwizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news with me, Arnold Kwizera. Rayon Sports Football Club may be relegated according to a statement from the Federation of International Football Association. The Blues have until March 31st to pay the remainder of arrears owed to former coach Raoul Shungu or face relegation to the second division. The Nyanza-based side owes the Congolese tactician 6 million Rwandan francs after paying off 15 francs of the total 22 million that they owed to him. Shungu is also said to have used his own money to buy logistics like balls, nets, and training kit. Shungu left Rayon Sport in May 2009 after falling out with his assistant Jean-Baptiste Kairanga and the club's leadership. Kairanga would later take over as head coach. On to tennis, the Australian Open. Both number 2 seeds Maria Sharapova and Roger Federer avoided early scares as they strolled into the round of 32 in the Australian Open yesterday. Maria Sharapova survived a second round scare as she saved 2 match points against world number 150 Alexandra Panova before completing the comeback to progress to the last 32 of the Australian Open. Sharapova won 6-1, 4-6, 7-5. In the men's draw, number 2 Roger Federer needed 4 sets after a first set scare to win 3-6, 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. While number 8 and British number 1 Andy Murray had an easier task, dispelling Michael Yuzny 7-5, 6-2 to set up his round of 32 clash. And finally, Group B takes center stage at the Africa Cup of Nations tournament in Equatorial Guinea with former champions Zambia and Tunisia all in action. Impressive Cape Verde, playing in their second consecutive tournament, take on the Democratic Republic of Congo in the day's early fixture, hoping to emulate their performance against Tunisia. The match of the day is expected to be between former champions Zambia and Tunisia, as both will seek to put one leg in the quarterfinals. Joining me in studio, as always, is sports journalist Asha Komugisha to break it down for us, the latest. Welcome to the show, Asha.
Thank you very much.
Asha, now let's start with, before we go into AFCON, which is going to be our main topic today. Rayon Sports' troubles don't seem to fade away. Now, is this a club living above their means?
Well, we all know that Rayon Sport is the oldest club in Rwanda. It's the biggest club because it has the most funds in Rwanda. It's really disappointing to find out that the management of the club has not been able to manage it like a big club. And by a big club, I mean have structures in place, have, for example, how can you tell me that a coach is the one using his own money to buy players? That is not good for the team because financially they have sponsors and they should be able to attract the biggest sponsors in the country. But, well, they are trying so far because Skoll is one of their sponsors. But the Secretary General told me that that money does not cater for even half of their budget, because their budget is about 250 million Rwandan francs.
Yeah, but the squabbles within Rayon Sport don't seem to end, You feel, or one moment, it's like the administration, there's a lot going on behind the scenes with the administration that they are not telling the public. They're not being truthful to the public. And as an insider person I would call you an insider, who has followed Rayon Sports up to Nyanza, to their training grounds, there's no harmony. I think now we can understand why there's no loyalty of coaches facing Rayon Sport. Now they have brought in another tactician in Andrew Mfutila, from the Congo. Are they going to keep him around for that long, going with their current trend?
Well, first of all, his contract is 6 months. That should tell you something about a club that had 4 coaches in 2014. So there's a bit of inconsistency. We have 2 players leaving. You have Abuba Sibomana, the best left back in Rwanda because he starts for Amavubi anyway, yes. And right back Karim Nizigimana. He has a lot of experience. He's played for about 8 years at this kind of level. So if you lose such players and then you have to go back to the drawing board to get young players, then you're playing against teams like APR that have the core of their team that has been playing together for about 2 or 3 years, then you have a problem.
Okay, I think that won't be good news even for Ferrafa itself in case Rayon Sports is relegated. Now, moving on to AFCON, the African Cup of Nations. This year's tournament looks so unpredictable. A lot of 1-1 draws in the first round of matches. Today's group, you have Democratic Republic of Congo in there, and you have Cape Verde, who are continuing to shock us, a country of 500,000 people producing very good football as they did in the previous Nations Cup. Zambia, Tunisia. Is this the most open group?
I think that we can summarize after watching the first games that this Africa Cup of Nations, I don't think people should even waste their time betting or predicting. They should just sit back, relax, and enjoy the tournament as it happens. As for Zambia, I think that going back to Equatorial Guinea, there's a lot of expectations. I've talked to Kalusha Bwalia, and he thinks that Zambia has what it takes to get there, but after their opening game, I think they have to step it up. They need today's win as much as possible.
Yeah, and I think from today's win, any team that wins in this group today goes on to the next round.
Yeah, definitely. They really have to win today's game. There's no two ways about it. But then,
So far with the tournament, which team do you feel has impressed you the most?
I think Gabon has interested me very much. They've been spectacular. They've done the simple things. You know, they've worked as a team. They've defended as a team. And Aubameyang has been very nice, very good for Gabon. And this is a team that no one is giving a chance, you know. But with their next game, if they pick a win, they're into the next round.
I think Gabon should be a lesson to some of our administrators watching there of how to build structures, because this team has been kept intact from the last Nations Cup, which they hosted, before the South African one, the one Zambia took, which was hosted by Equatorial Guinea and Gabon, where they put up a very not so good displays for a host nation, but then you feel Patrick Aubameyang was given that chance to express himself. He was about 19, 18 at that time, still at AC Milan. And now he's 25 playing for Borussia Dortmund and in the Champions League, and he's captaining a very good and promising Gabon team. Do you feel now that there has been a shift of power? Because coming into like the fixture, Ivory Coast versus Guinea, everyone was talking about the elephants. The elephants. You have a team that has Wilfred Bony, has Yaya Toure, you know, Africa's best player. You know, it has Kolo Toure, though he has his dark days still there. You know, what's not happening with the traditional giants? Cameroon are struggling. Nigeria failed to make it. Senegal were beaten. What's wrong with the traditional giants?
Well, I think that people think that players who are stars, for example, in the English Premier League, will bring the same energy into the national team. So far, we've seen disappointments, and I think it's the smaller nations which work as a unit that are stepping it up, that are giving their all to their national teams. I feel that Ivory Coast have been very disappointing, because you cannot explain to me how you have a player like Yaya Toure, you have Wilfred Bony, who, by the way, had only 10 touches in their first half. I mean, how do you... I
saw that on your Twitter handle, so I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, how do you explain something like that? You expect a team like Ivory Coast to dominate from the first game, not to struggle and come back from behind, you know, to draw a game like that. What many are calling the game of the tournament, Cameroon versus Mali, this new look Cameroon team. If I was put my money on any team right now in the tournament, despite them snatching a late draw in that game, you felt it's a game they could have won if they had put away their chances. Well, of course, Cameroon without Samuel Eto'o for the first time in over a decade, it's surprising, but then again, there's hope in that team.
No Alexander Song?
Yeah, there's energy in the team, and the team is a team that wants to bring out their best, they want to fight and say that, you know what, we can play without Samuel Eto'o and we can actually get there. And of course, the indomitable Lions, everyone expects the best from them, so they're under pressure as well.
Now, moving from the pitch onto the touchline, there have been talks about, we are not seeing African coaches taking up their national teams. Now, you have only 3 coaches at the Africa Cup of Nations who are from their home nations or who are Africans. What does this tell about the tactical knowledge of African coaches, and won't it affect the future of African football if an African team with an African coach fails to go through the first round of fixtures?
Well, of course, statistics have shown that African coaches have been struggling at the African, you know, at the helm of African football. Of course, we've seen the likes of Stephen Keshi when he won with Nigeria at the 2013 edition, Sheikh Mashaba, the qualification of South Africa for a tournament they are not hosting. That is, you know,
that's good news for South Africa.
That is good news for South Africa, and of course, you have the feeling that Bafana have been winning because of Sheikh Mashaba. There's just something he tells the players, the energy he brings onto the pitch that keeps them going. Yeah, but you feel that. African, I mean, look at Claude Leroy, the coach of Congo Brazzaville. He is coaching at his 8th Africa Cup of Nations. No one has done that in the past.
You have Hervé Renard at Ivory Coast, also a former African champion.
With Patrice Vermont as his assistant. That is a lot of experience just on the touchline. So you feel that there are so many European coaches who are mastering the art of African football more than the African coaches themselves. But then again, you have to give them a chance. The African coaches, they have to go and study and get the qualification of what it means to actually coach a national team.
Okay, Asha, I wanted to go into the Australian Open. I'm not getting that from my producer, but I'm sure we'll be here on Monday to talk more into the Australian Open, as we'll be looking at those final men's singles games. By Monday, we'll have the lineups for the final singles. Roger Federer, obviously, in the final, I guess. Regis and Makeda will be right back after the break with the latest news headlines.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at news-making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
His Excellency President Paul Kagame joined more than 40 heads of states and business leaders for the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, which kicked off yesterday. President Kagame attended the World Economic Forum Roundtable Breakfast with leaders from both the public and private sector, where he thanked the people for investing time and resources in Rwanda's development. He also took part in a televised debate under the theme Achieving Africa's Growth Agenda with South African President Jacob Zuma and other business leaders, which provided a platform to discuss strategy and economic development across the continent.
Rwanda is considering digitizing learning essentials in schools to cut down on the cost of books and other printed materials. Officials said an initiative called the Smart Classroom, which consists of the use of whiteboards and electronic devices such as projectors and computers, will be facilitated in schools across the country early next year. Rwanda is currently using the One Laptop Per Child program, where more than 200,000 computers have been distributed to over 400 schools across the country.
Officials have commended the public for adhering to fire safety regulations since instructions were laid out last year to prevent fire outbreaks. This comes after a report by the Ministry for Disaster Management and Refugee Affairs showed that the public had made major progress in understanding and responding to the safety rules in preventing hazards. The safety measures were put in place last year following numerous fire outbreaks across the country, which called for the improvement of fire management institutions in response to fire outbreaks.
And in international news, the head of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis, has announced that he will visit Africa later this year with stops in Uganda and the Central African Republic. The pontiff addressed journalists aboard the papal plane as he headed back to Rome after a week-long visit in Asia, where he drew record crowds. He said the trip was delayed due to the Ebola outbreak. This would be the Pope's first trip to Africa since being elected pontiff in March 2013.
US President Barack Obama pledged economic policies to benefit all Americans during his annual State of the Union address. In a speech televised to appeal to working families, President Obama outlined his strategy for the middle class, calling on his opponents to raise taxes on the rich and warned them that he will veto legislation that will challenge his key decisions. In ending his address, the US President said he was optimistic he could work with his new Republican-led Congress despite months of political gridlock.
Okay, lots more still to come. Lifestyle is up next. Plus, we take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section, Hot Topics. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Lifestyle time now. What do we have on the agenda?
Well, we have some latest movies that are in theaters and another movie that's coming out tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so the first movie is actually coming out tomorrow. I'm not going to say too much. I'll let you guys see the trailer first and then we'll talk.
Okay.
How did we end up here? This place is horrible. Smells like balls. We had it all. You were a movie star, remember?
Who was this guy? He used to be Birdman.
I like that poster.
You wrote this adaptation?
I did, yeah.
And you're directing and starring in your adaptation. That's ambitious.
Are you afraid people will say you're doing this play to battle the impression that you're a washed-up comic strip character?
Absolutely not. That's why 20 years ago I said no to Birdman 4.
Hold the man's law. You do Birdman 4. Now you're about to destroy what's left of your career.
Oh,
We should have done that reality show they offered us.
Shut up.
All right. Doesn't it actually look funny? So basically, it's a movie about an ex-movie star who's trying to revive his career. In a way, I actually kind of feel sorry for him, because you look at it and you're like, imagine if you're in his shoes. You know, you're once a big star, and you know
nobody remembers who you are.
Well, no, people remember you, but you're a has-been,
Right,
and so you're trying to revive your career. And so a lot is taking place. He's trying to come up with this play, you know, where he's reviving his, you know, character. But it's a great movie. It's funny, like as you were saying.
Shocking,
and
actually.
It's interesting. But I think it's one of those movies you go and you'd enjoy. You'd enjoy. I totally recommend it.
Okay.
It looked a little bit disturbing at one point, but okay.
No, but you know what? It's relatable in the fact that, you know, you see this person who's trying to, you know, get back to his limelight, and you know he's down, and you want to see him go back up.
The underdog. Okay.
Exactly.
What else you have?
All right. So the next movie, let's check out the trailer and we'll talk about it.
Can you read your note again? Please take care of our baby. Her name's Annie. There's half a locket around her neck. So when we come for her, you know that she's our girl.
Come on, rats! Let's go!
Why are you running?
It gives me places quicker.
Little kids. Kids with germs.
Will, this is really gonna help your race for mayor.
Her name is Annie. She'll be staying with Mr. Stacks for a while.
You want me to play daddy?
It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us.
You're not really thinking about doing this.
We won't even know she's there. It's like having a turtle.
Wonder if she has her shots.
But I'm stuck with the day. That's right. This is what it's like living with a billionaire. Is he nice?
Oh, it looks fun.
This is what I'm looking forward to seeing.
That's a remake of a classic movie, and you know, it's about a young little girl who doesn't have parents and is looking for her biological parents, but meets this billionaire who is Jamie Foxx, and basically ends up taking care of her, and they have a strong bond together. And you know, a lot happens during the movie, and in fact, eventually her parents are discovered. But it's a great family movie, and it came out actually around Christmas in America. But it's in theaters. It's still in theaters for those who haven't had a chance to watch it, and it's a great, it's a joyful
feel-good movie.
It's a
I loved
feel-good
the
movie.
original.
Right. Yes.
I loved. Actually, there was a cartoon version that I liked as a kid, and I liked the original version as well. And you know what? I love me a musical. I don't care what it is. I just love musicals, so I'm excited.
Right. Now, I also have to mention that there was some controversy in that, you know, the original had a white cast. And so some people were like, oh, you know, they killed the movie making Annie a black girl. And, you know, it should have been a white girl playing it.
With
but
red
I'm
hair.
sorry, you know, if you're going to use that argument, then why are we using, you know, someone like Christian Bale to play Moses, right?
Yeah. Instead of an Egyptian.
Right, exactly. So I think, no, either way, I think it's a great movie for kids and family and everybody.
I'm excited to watch it.
Yes. All right, I guess it's time for
This
your
is
favorite
the
part.
part. This is the part.
What is it? What is it?
All right, time to watch the cult classic.
All right.
And I've spent the last 5 years setting up a kind of biological preserve. What kind of park is this? We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
It's a dinosaur.
There's no doubt our attractions will drive kids out of their minds.
Grandpa!
We're gonna make a fortune with this place.
We're going to open next year, that is if the lawyers don't kill me first.
What species is it? It's a velociraptor.
Park will
Jurassic Park. Do you guys remember that movie?
Oh, yes, for sure. I loved that movie.
No, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, because it came out back in 1993, I was actually scared to, like, there are parts I was really scared to watch.
Dinosaurs.
You know, with dinosaurs.
Surprisingly, I think, and I was afraid of anything that was even close to being a little bit scary. But surprisingly, I really loved that movie as a kid. I wasn't afraid of any part. I just found it fun and exhilarating.
The dinosaur chasing people and...
No, but you know what scared me, actually? I think this might be why the movie didn't scare me. My older brother used to, like, do his impression of a dinosaur and chase me. That scared me like crazy. But the movie, surprisingly, didn't scare me at all.
Really? Okay, well, you know what? Since we're talking about, you know, Jurassic Park, then I think it's time for me to give, you know...
Yes, make the people happy.
Yes, time to make people happy. All right, guys. So, just before we wrap up, every week we'll be giving out free movie tickets. And this week, the movie trivia question is, what is the latest movie... Sorry, what is the name of the latest Jurassic Park movie? The name is either A, Jurassic Park 4, Jurassic Returns, or C, Jurassic World. You can email, tweet, or Facebook us the answer, and the first 2 people to respond will win free movie tickets. Again, the question is, what is the name of the latest Jurassic movie? Is it A, Jurassic Park 4, Jurassic Returns, or C, Jurassic World? All right, stay tuned. Hot Topics is coming right up. Welcome back. It's that Hot Topics time again. As always, you can join in on the debates through our social media, whether it's on Facebook or on Twitter. Let's get into our first hot topic, guys. All right, so the first one is a very positive one for Rwanda. Last week, Rwanda participated in one of the Netherlands' biggest and most important tourist exhibition. It's called the I'm going to try and pronounce it, the Vakantibir Tourism Exhibition. Now, this exhibition attracts over 125,000 visitors, and about 160 countries participate, with about 1,600 exhibitors. What I loved about it, as you can see, you know, people at the stands are wearing mishanas, you know, representing the country very well, and, you know, promoting different tourist attractions such as Akagera National Park, Nyungwe National Park, and things like that. And I think more things like this are needed to really attract tourism to Rwanda. What do you guys think?
I mean, definitely, with only like 5 years down the road until we get to a 2020 year that we have a vision for, we need to present ourselves in the best way possible to attract more people to come to Rwanda, to attract investors, to attract, more people. The more people come, the more foreign exchange we get. So it's a win-win for us. So we should really maximize on this and just make the best of it. What do you guys think?
Save the money. She knows what she wants. No, I think it's great. It's great. I mean, it's basically, when you think about it, any way, shape or form, we can actually show our country in a great light. That's always great, especially since we're getting help from other people showcasing our country. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Now, actually, on to our next hot topic. She brought up something when it comes to investment. Sadly, we don't have some great news because last year foreign investment actually fell. If you compare the numbers of last year, so last year we attracted $390 million worth of projects, compared to the year before that, which is 2013, which was $444 million. Now, part of it, they say, has to do with the Ebola outbreak that we had in West Africa, which indirectly affected, a lot of investment in Africa all around. But I wonder whether there's also other reasons why maybe, there wasn't a lot of foreign investment.
Yeah, definitely there were some reasons why. One of them being last year we experienced a lot of aid cuts, and those aid cuts came from countries that had brought in a lot of investment the year before, the likes of Belgium, which just reopened their aid cuts in this fiscal year, but in the previous year, so they couldn't encourage their people to come down and invest in Rwanda. That was that was a big problem. Then the problem of we failed to meet our energy targets for the year. So in failure to meet our energy targets, most of the companies couldn't come and set up here. You know, some companies, the likes of Azam from Tanzania, wanted to set up here earlier, but they could not do that, which they have done in this fiscal year because we didn't have enough electricity to supply to them. Yeah. So those are some of the things that affected investment last year.
Absolutely. And in fact, it's funny you say that because the biggest investment we had last year, which was $157 million, was the US-based Symbion Power, which basically was the biggest investment. But hopefully this year things will turn out better, and hopefully there won't be any outbreaks.
I think so far it's already gone better.
Absolutely. We're doing much better. And hooray for Rwanda, right? Okay, on to the last hot topic. This one is a bit of a sad but ongoing issue that I think, I don't know if it's because it's much more in the media now or whether it's something that's actually just increasing, but human trafficking. We've been seeing it a lot in the news. There have been campaigns about it, and even just yesterday there was an article in the New Times that was talking about these young ladies who were rescued, some from Zambia and other parts of Africa. And basically, they're telling their stories of how, they meet guys, like one of the girls was talking about how she just got into a taxi coming from work. She was in senior 6. And this guy starts asking her about herself, what she does, and then somehow convinces her, that they should stay communicating, but gives her a SIM card and tells her not to tell her parents. Anyway, they continue speaking, and eventually he leads her to Zambia, where luckily enough she had already mentioned it to the parents, so they were able to track her in Zambia and bring her back. But what I wanted to know is, do you guys think that it's something that's just becoming more and more, or is it because there's now a lot of media attention towards it?
Well, I know they had a lot of human trafficking awareness projects, especially in the past couple of weeks, because it was like World Human Trafficking Day or Week. But I think that honestly, it comes down to, because this story, human trafficking is not new, and I remember and I remember as a teenager, my mother really saying, don't talk to strangers, don't allow anyone to, give you any stories, don't go with anyone, don't accept any gifts from any strangers or from older people or anything like that. And I think it just takes, like real awareness, not only with parents telling teenagers that, but like targeting these things to teenagers and telling them it's not safe, because I think a lot of times these are things that can obviously be avoided, you know what I mean? And I think that maybe sometimes teenagers don't, or even older ladies, they don't realize what they could be getting themselves into, especially people who are doing this. The ones that are good at it is because they are trustworthy and they seem sincere, So I think it's just to watch out, watch your back and just be smart about it.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you say, because I know the police is doing a lot to create, raise awareness and teach people about human trafficking. But then again, there's only so much that the police can do. It always comes back to the families that you're in, to just make sure that you teach your kids about these things and make sure they understand and know better than to do or go with people that they don't know and all these things, because at the end of the day the police will play their part after they've been taken. So you need to make sure that you don't even have to come to that point from the beginning, and just make sure you're doing your part as well.
Right, and I also have to bring up the fact that most of these girls come from very poor families. So for them, these gentlemen are selling a dream to them. They're telling them that I'll give you a job that will help you send money back to your family and this and that. But at the same time, when something sounds too good to be true, it usually is.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a hard topic anyway, but we want to know what it is that you guys think. And don't forget that we love to hear your comments, your thoughts, and your feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. Like us on Facebook and send us ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we do. Follow us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We love to see your photos. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we'd love to have your feedback and your ideas for the show, so please send them to us. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahadio. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow. But until then, from us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, we'd like to say goodbye, have a great day.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.